So what if I told you that you could get 37 times better at something in just 1 year? It sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, today we're diving into a super powerful method for doing exactly that from the author James Clear. But his story, it doesn't start with some massive success. It actually starts with a single, absolutely terrifying moment. Imagine this. You're 18 years old, a high school baseball star. Your future looks incredibly bright. You've got a scholarship pretty much in the bag. And then, in less than a second, this happens. The impact was just devastating. Blood on the field, his coach in a panic, the sound of sirens getting closer. This young player was airlifted to the hospital, completely unconscious. He was put into a medically induced coma. Doctors weren't even sure if he was going to make it. His future, his dreams, everything he had worked so hard for, it just seemed to be erased in a fraction of a second. Well, that young man was James Clear. And after that accident, he spent 9 incredibly long months in a grueling recovery. I mean, he had to relearn everything. How to walk, how to speak clearly again. His athletic career, it was over. He was literally starting from less than zero. And yet, this is James Clear today. He's one of the most influential writers on the entire planet. From a hospital bed to the New York Times bestseller list. From a shattered skull to advising the world's absolute top performers. So you have to ask the question, how on earth did he pull that off?
The answer, it turns out, is in this profound discovery he made while he was recovering. He didn't try to make some huge, miraculous comeback all at once. Nope. Instead, he focused on something way smaller, something way more manageable, what's called the aggregation of marginal gains.
Now, what's really fascinating is where this whole idea was famously proven. Back in 2003, the British cycling team was, frankly, a joke. They had won a single gold medal in 76 years. Then a new coach, Dave Brailsford, came in with this exact philosophy. He improved everything by just 1%. The bike seats, the tires, the massage gels, even the pillows the athletes slept on. And you know what? People laughed. They thought it was absurd. But Brailsford knew a powerful secret. Those tiny, almost invisible gains would compound into an absolutely unstoppable advantage. And the results? They were staggering. The team went on to dominate the 2008 Olympics and won the Tour de France 5 times. See, this is the simple, kind of brutal math behind the 1% rule. It works both ways. Just stop and think about that for a second. If you get just 1% better each day, you don't end up 365% better at the end of the year. Because of the magic of compounding, you end up almost 38 times better. It's not just a gradual improvement, it's a complete and total transformation. But the flip side, it's just as powerful, but in a really terrifying way. A tiny 1% decline each day doesn't just set you back a little bit. It compounds until there's almost nothing left. You just wither away. The daily choice is so small, but the final destinations are worlds apart. Okay, so we get the what, the incredible power of 1%. But how do we actually do it in our own lives? Well, Clear didn't just stop at the theory. He built a super practical framework. He calls it the 4 laws of behavior change. All right, the first law is all about the triggers, the cues in your environment. Make it obvious. The thing is, we're all really shaped by what we see around us. So instead of trying to rely on willpower, which we all know runs out, you just redesign your space. If you want to build a good habit, make the cue for it impossible to miss. But what if the cue is obvious and you still just don't want to do it? That brings us to law number 2. Make it attractive. Our brains are basically dopamine-seeking missiles, so the trick is to bundle something you need to do with something you love to do. Maybe you listen to your favorite podcast, but you only get to listen while you exercise. That's how you trick your brain into actually craving the new habit. Now this one is absolutely crucial. The third law is to make it easy. You know, the biggest hurdle to any new habit is just getting started. So Clear's solution is brilliant. It's the 2-minute rule. You just scale down any new habit until it takes less than 2 minutes to do. You want to read more? Don't commit to a whole chapter, just commit to reading 1 single page. The goal on day 1 isn't mastery. It's just mastering the art of showing up. So you've shown up. Great. But how do you make sure you'll come back and do it again tomorrow? That's where the final law comes in. Make it satisfying. Our brains crave immediate rewards. The problem with good habits is that the big payoff is often way down the road. So you have to create a little instant win. That simple, satisfying X you draw on a habit tracker, that's a tiny celebration. It's a visual signal to your brain that says, hey, that felt good. Let's do that again. But here's the thing. The 4 laws are really just the mechanics. Clear's most profound insight goes way deeper. It's not about what you want to achieve, it's about who you want to become. This is the whole concept of identity-based habits. And this just perfectly illustrates the mental shift. See, a goal is a temporary outcome. An identity is who you are. Someone who is trying to quit still sees themselves as a smoker fighting an urge. But someone who says, I am not a smoker, well, they've changed how they see themselves. And the behavior just naturally follows that new identity. This right here, this is the core of everything. Each tiny little habit, reading one page, going for a 5-minute walk, writing one single sentence. It isn't just an action, it's evidence. It's you casting a vote for your new identity. You're not just doing something, you're literally becoming someone new. Okay, so that's all the theory. But, knowing isn't the same as doing. The only thing that really matters now is how you're going to apply this. So let's make this real for you, right now. Here's your game plan, starting today. First, forget about goals for a minute and think about identity. Who do you want to become? Just pick one thing. Second, what is the tiniest 2-minute action that person would take? That's your first vote. And third, use those 4 laws to engineer that tiny action into your daily life. Because ultimately, this is the only question that really matters. The next 365 days are going to go by no matter what we do. You can be in the exact same place a year from now, or you can be 37 times better. And that entire journey begins with the single 1% choice you make today.